Welcome to Show Me Slot Cars. Today I'm going to show you how I do my maintenance on my slot cars and how I track how often to do that maintenance. And all that tracking is going to be done within the Smart Race app that I use for all of my race management. And I know many of you do too. And so I'm going to show you the feature within that app that I use to track how often to do the maintenance and when it needs to be done. Now here within the app, you can see there are many different options. We're not going to go through most of it, but what we are going to look at is the cars menu. And the vehicle we're most concerned about right now is that Ferrari 488. That one I haven't done work on in a while. And so we're going to open that up, and right there at the top, it's going to show us that we're overdue for maintenance and that it needs to be done. That's the notification that's going to remind me. Now you have to set the maintenance interval in order for it to give you that notification. And if you scroll down, the maintenance interval that I have set right now is 1,000 laps. And that's really just a point of view, or a rough gauge of how often I should do it. Really just so I don't forget, or I don't forget how long I've been driving it without re-lubing. And so you can see that right now the lap since maintenance is 1,223. And so I'm a little bit over, but like I said, I just use it as a rough gauge. Now, in order to set what that maintenance interval is, down here where this little pen is, you're going to hit that, and that'll let you adjust all these settings. There's a lot of other things in here that maybe one day we'll cover, but the main one that I'm focusing on is that maintenance interval. I have it set at 1,000, but you can change it to whatever you would like. And so, for example, I'll just change it to 1,100 because I have a little bit shorter lap now than I had when I set this up initially. So we'll just hit that, and then we'll hit save. Now, since we're still obviously over the limit, it's still going to tell us to do the maintenance. So since we're going to do that today, and I'm going to walk you through that steps, I'm going to go ahead and hit reset. We're going to confirm, and then what we can see down here is that starts it all over on the count. So next time I hit 1,100 laps, it's going to give me another notification so I know, hey, open this thing up, check it out, clean it out, re-lube it. All right, so here we are at the bench. I've gathered up my tools, my lubes, my grease, and I'll just go through those real quick. But first thing I've got is that just a little real small screwdriver. Everybody's got one of those around. A small set of tweezers, that's to get anything out of the axles or hard to reach places. And then a couple of clean paintbrushes. These are pretty stiff bristles, and that's really just to brush out all the lint and dust and all the junk that gets caught up in there. I have a couple just in case. And then I use these little cups. One of them I use to put the screws in, and then the other two I set upside down, and that's for the car body and the car chassis. And that just keeps them up off this table because it's a mess and I build all kinds of stuff, and yeah, it just gets messy and I don't want that inside the car. Next one are these little, it's a toothpick with like a cotton swab on the end, super tiny. I got them on Amazon. I think they're made for makeup, but I like them for a number of different things, but any of the real tight spots I can get cleaned up. And then also I like to use it for spreading the grease around on the gears. In the past, I've used this synthetic lubricant. I used it on my HO stuff, and it worked fine. But I recently got from Slotcar Corner just this past week. I got their lubrication kit, and it all came in. And so you got the oil and the grease. This oil seeps into those bearings a million times better than this stuff that I got. I don't know what this is actually for. I know it's some hobby grade oil, but just not nearly as nice as that Slot Corner stuff. So first thing we'll do is I'll just move some of this stuff out of the way so we can get to work. But obviously, first things first, you got to open up that chassis. And so just popping out those screws. We're going to separate these out. I drop them right in the cup so that I don't lose them. I don't want to misplace them. That holds them in a good spot. Sometimes they get a little finicky and don't want to come out. That one does not. There it goes. We're going to get all four, everything coming out. go. And last one here. Whoop. Nope. Come on now. That one doesn't want to come. It is unscrewed, so I'll just drop it in the bucket. And then basically, the way I put these is flip them upside down. That sets right on it. That way it's not setting on any of this funk that gets on my desk. And then make sure you don't lose this screw if it sticks in there. Comes out, put it in that cup. Cup goes up here so I don't spill it. And then we've got the chassis. So chassis open, we're ready to go to put it on here. First thing I'm gonna do is make some room for these front tires. Front axle. So we can pop those off. It's real easy. 1, 2. That's gonna pop out. And then here's where we can leave that on there. It doesn't look too bad. It's still a little slimy from the last stuff, but not too bad. And then same deal with the back one. This one's a little more stubborn. Pop it out, pop it out. Just looking at this, I think I put one of these on, must have been the front one on backwards, because obviously this one has red, that one has yellow, and they were flip-flopped. So have to pay attention to that when we put it back together. But first things first, let's just try to get this guy all cleaned out. It doesn't look too bad. I used to have to do it way more often and do a lot more work to these guys. But that's when I had track on the floor. You can see there's a little bit of funk. I was doing some cutting of the XPS foam, and clearly some of that's static to the track, and then of course it winds up inside the car. But super easy, just a real quick brush. No big deal. If you do this, the more often you do this, the less funky it gets in there. Obviously, if you're not a rug racer, your cars will stay much cleaner too. But that should do the trick. Nothing too funky. The other thing I like to get is any nastiness off that gear, especially since we're going to put grease on there. And that looks good. Next, I like to do these guys, and this is why I bring the tweezers. You see, I've got a dog, and her hair gets everywhere. And since I'm down here in the basement, it, I swear, flows through the floorboards. And I don't know how it gets down here or how it gets everywhere, because she doesn't like it down here. But it gets everywhere down here. More so than upstairs, I think. But yeah, just a little bit there. And then you're going to take this brush, and I really just start off with just brushing that out. So that's going to get any dust, any funk in there. It should start getting some of that old oil off of there as well. But that should do the trick. I have this paper towel here just so I can take a little bit off there. And just make sure I get any of that old stuff, especially since the last time I did this one, I used that old Liberty, whatever this stuff is. And it's just a little funkier. So we're gonna try to make sure we get all of that off before we get the good stuff on there. So I've always been told just a little dab. I don't know if you can see, but we're just going to do one little drop. Pop. And then I like to not drop that one, but spin it around a little bit, and you can feel it as it gets lubed up. You can feel it goes smoother and smoother and smoother. I know I've heard a lot of people don't do the front, but I don't really see a reason not to. It'll make it less noisy on the track. It will just roll better. And then obviously the better those front wheels are rolling, the less likely they are to catch and make a de-slot. But yeah, that looks good there. So we're gonna try to figure out, this goes that way. So that means yellow is on the passenger side. So let's try to get this in the right way this time. Just gotta line up those bearings there, and then just opposite of what we did last time. Just snap them in. That one does not want to go. There it goes. And then just super smooth, really nice flowing. Always makes me happy when it does it. And then usually, at least I've found that the back axle is way more filthy than the front axle, almost always, which is maybe why people don't clean the front one every single time. But if I've got it open and taken it apart, might as well. That's my opinion. So we're going to scrub that down. I didn't see nearly as much dog hair on this guy, so that's a good sign. But you can hear, well, you probably can't hear, but I can hear. It's not grinding, but you can tell there's not much oil left in there. And since we're going to grease this axle up, we want to make sure we got all the funk out of there, because it'll just stick to that grease. And then same deal as on the front. So just one little drop in there. And then I like to give it a little movement, slide it up and down the axle. So kind of up and down. Obviously you don't need to go all the way to the middle, but that makes sure that it's coated right where it's going to land. And then let's do the other side. Whoop. Last corner. Drop there, let it soak in a second. Yeah, this stuff just flows so much nicer into there. I'm really digging this stuff. So there's that. It's moving really nice. It feels really nice. Excited to get this one back on. This is my new favorite car right now. I'm still building my collection. Obviously, I just started with this scale. I don't know, week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I've been racing 164s for a long time, but I got a sweet deal on this set, and so I'm sending my 164 track up to my dad's house because he loves it when he comes over here to race. So figured it'd be all right if I went to a home I know and I could still go race on it every once in a while. So that's popped back in. Everything's looking good. Everything's looking cleaned up. We're just going to do a little bit of grease. Last time I opened this guy, it just wanted to like flow out like crazy, which is why I started using this. Let's close that up before I make a mess. So I just like to squeeze a little bit out. Maybe it'll come. There it goes. It's going to keep flowing and flowing. That's all right. But I just like to get a little bit on there. Don't want to get too much, but that's why I use this piece, or this little like toothpick thing. It just helps spread it out if you do get too much in one spot. So you can just kind of rub it up and down when you got a little bit more here. That's way too much right there. Whoops. Let's see if we can get some of that moving around a little bit. It's already just so much quieter and nicer with this stuff on there. I don't think I have any totally dry spots. Probably got too much on my pinion. Yeah, super smooth, really nice. Looks like the infamous dog hair snuck in there, but I got it. All right, so close up all this jazz. See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm just squeezing it too hard, so it just keeps feeding out. We're gonna clean that off. Close up the lid. And this should be, the braids look pretty good. I'm not gonna mess with those too much. But it should be ready to go. So obviously we popped the chassis back on the body. Maybe. Sometimes these wires get in the way. I move them out of the way so I can get the axle free, and then sometimes they always don't go back where they were prior. It's because they're stubborn, but we'll try again. I think that did it. Something's still sticking. Nope, it's just not liking that. So what I'm gonna do is try to tuck these in a little bit more. Get them down in there next to that, to the chip. That should do the trick. I know you guys wanted to watch me struggle putting this back on. There we go, nice and solid. So my my screwdriver here is magnetic, so when I pull one out, two come out, and I hate that. And I hate fiddling with it. So what I do is just dump it over, and then I just spread them out. I don't know if that's really worth even mentioning, but it took me a minute to figure that one out. So we're just gonna tighten it up, and then as soon as you feel resistance, I stop. I haven't really messed with any body float yet. I know there's lots of videos out there on YouTube, so I'm hoping to get some more experience with that. But what I do know, well, first I know that that screw did not go in there right. Is that it's just plastic, right? And so where that screw is going in, it's just plastic, which means it is super easy to strip. And you don't want that, because then this whole thing is essentially worthless. It's a parts car. So I just screw it up until it gets in there. You get a little bit of resistance and then stop it. So it looks good. Everything went back together nicely. And we'll get over on the track and do a couple of hot laps and see how it goes. Cool. I'll be right back. While we're doing those test laps and showing the performance upgrade that we got from that tuning, just want to take a minute and really just say thank you so much for watching through this epically long video, much longer than I had planned. But also wanted to say I'm still just a really small YouTube channel, and so if you made it this far, obviously you have some interest in what I'm doing and probably just in slot cars in general, and would really appreciate it if you hit that like button, press the subscribe, watch some more of my videos, and really just joined in this cool community that we have on YouTube. One of the best ways to join that community is to just drop a comment below and let me know what you think I did wrong with my tune, or some advice that you might have to make it even better than what I'm doing. But also, maybe I had some tools or some ideas or some tips that you hadn't thought about. Let me know about those too, because the more communication we have back and forth and that you have with the many other slot car channels, the more interest we get in creating more videos and keeping this community alive and going, and I'm just really excited to be a part of it. And so for now, that's all I've got. We'll watch the last couple of laps, and then I'll see you next time.